What's up, everybody, and thank you for joining me for another video. My name is Whack4863, but you can call me Whack. In today's video, I'm going to show you the difference between PS4 and PS5. Now, I am not going to get super technical in this video other than this initial screen showing you the difference between the load times. For the most part, I'm just going to give you an overview of my experience playing it on PS4 and PS5. And I do, throughout this video, try to sync the actions up, so I will do some cuts where I sync up actions or I sync up things that I did on both PS4 and PS5. That way you can see it at the same time. So if I'm going to say New Asgard, you can see on the left screen and the right screen the interactions in New Asgard at the same time. Now, real quick, let's talk about specs and different things like that. The PS4 that I'm using is the PS4 Pro, and I do have a solid-state drive that I'm running the game on. On the PS5, it is just the PS5 that's out right now, and I'm using the same solid-state drive to run the game on that. So the drive really doesn't have anything to do with it for this test. And you can see on the left hand side I am floating all over my own foundations there, where I did not have that issue with the PS5 whatsoever. I did not float anywhere with the PS5, which is really nice. Now, this footage was filmed with the exact same hardware and software, so an Elgato and then the Streamlabs OBS is what I used to film the footage from both the PS4 and the PS5. The times of day are different because I am filming this on an official server, so linking those up for the video would have just taken too long. But there are some key moments during the video where the lighting is the same, and I'll point those out so you can see the real differences between the quality of the graphics on either one. There also is a couple of parts of where the feeling of the PS4 was that I was losing just an absolute ton of frames, like my frame rate just dropped and tanked through the floor, and I'll point that out as well. Now, something that I want to throw in as a disclaimer is, again, I am playing both on the PS4 and the PS5 on a solid state drive. So the PS5, if you're going from a regular PS4 or a PS4 Pro where you're not using a solid state drive, the difference in your gameplay is going to be very significant. Whereas for me, the difference going from my PS4 Pro with the solid state drive to the PS5 is not as significant. It is definitely better, and I can see a lot of the differences, especially when we get into some of the more populated areas. The PS5 just excels, where the PS4 definitely loses the frames, like I was saying earlier. The combat was a little bit interesting on the PS5 versus the PS4. I almost felt like I was running around in cloak mode on the PS5 because I had to get really close up to things before I felt like they would attack me. Also, I'm really used to playing on the PC, so the aggro difference with the updates that they've made on PC that have not made it to console yet really made it an interesting experience, as everything wanted to attack my thrall, and it was really hard for me on both PS4 and PS5 to really feel like I was getting a lot of engagement for myself. Another thing that I want to mention, PS4 versus PS5, just general differences. I feel like PS5 may be region locked because I did try to put my UK disc, the PS4 UK disc for Conan Exiles, in my PS5, and it did not like that. It wouldn't let me install it. It's possible that it wouldn't let me install it because I already had the US version installed, so I need to do a little bit of testing there. But as of right now, I'm only able to play my US disc version of the game on my PS5. So a little bit more research on that. If that's something that you're interested in, please leave a comment in the comment section below, because if I don't feel like a lot of people would want that information, I probably will just do the testing for myself and not upload a video about it. Don't ask me how I managed to get a sandstorm at almost the exact same point in each video. So there's a sandstorm on PS5 while I'm in the summoning place, and then there'll be a sandstorm on the PS4 as I'm leaving the summoning place. So pretty interesting that I was able to do that. I don't think I could do that again if I tried, but it will give you an idea of what the sandstorm looks like in the same area of the game on both PS4 and PS5. Also, probably should have put a disclaimer earlier on in the video. I'm sorry to those that I traumatized with the named thralls that are going to be killed in this video and the amount of loot that I leave laying on the floor in this video as well. It was not a run for thralls or for loot. It really was just 2 runs simply to show the difference between PS4 and PS5. So that's pretty much the conclusion of the summoning place right there. The other places that we're going to visit are going to be the Black Galleon and New Asgard. So I really wanted to pick places that I felt like had a lot of NPCs that you interacted with at the same time, and that's why I picked those 2 places. Here we're going to see some of the base rendering, and you can see what I'm talking about the different parts rendering in differently, and it actually rendered faster in total on the PS4 than it did on the PS5. Now, I haven't played on this server in quite some time, so there shouldn't be anything in the memory for the PS4, and there's definitely nothing in the memory for the PS5 because this is the first time I went on this server on the PS5. Now here's where I want you to look at the difference in quality and the difference in color, because I feel like this is the closest comparison to time we have in the game. So the lighting is very close to the same, but if you look at the PS5, if you look at the Scorpion King, you can just see so much more detail. You can see a lot more highlights, you can see a lot more reflection or glare from the sunlight, whereas on the PS4 it's much more muted colors, and the highlights and details just aren't as pronounced or clear on the PS4 as they are on the PS5. And honestly, the PS5 feels a lot closer to my experience on PC. So the kind of quality that I get out of the PC version of the game. So the PS5 definitely feels much closer to the quality that I get out of my PC. And it should, really, when we're looking at the hardware that's in the PS5 versus the hardware that's in the PS4, it definitely should be better. So the Black Galleon is one of those places that for the longest time people complained about losing bodies, them disappearing, or just general lag. And it is a place that definitely pushes the PS4 to the limit, and it probably pushes Xbox to the limit as well. Unfortunately, I don't own any Xbox products, so I can't give you any comparison on those. I can only give you the PlayStation to PlayStation. But the amount of NPCs, the amount of waving flags, fires, placeables that are in this area really take a toll on the PS4 version. I know when I play on my original PS4 without the solid state drive, it really is a really different experience than it is even playing on my PS4 Pro or playing on my original PS4 with my solid state drive. I can't stress this enough. If you're experiencing issues and you've got the cash to spend on a solid state drive, I recommend it, especially for this game. And I did an old comparison of the difference between the PS4 without a solid state drive and the PS4 with a solid state drive on Conan Exiles, and it's almost night and day. It is much better with that solid state drive. And the nice thing is, if you're eventually upgrading to PS5, your solid state drive will just plug right in. So I suggest getting an external solid state drive. That's the setup that I have. And what you do is you just, when you get your PS5, you go ahead and plug it in to the PS5 and you can run your PS4 games off of that. I also can swap it back and forth. That's what I did for this video. I swapped it back to my PS4 in order to play on there. I don't have to reinstall any software or anything like that. It's really just plug and play and super easy. Now here's where we get to the moment of truth. Boarding the Black Galleon is actually the area that's going to give the PS4 the most frame lag, and I don't think you can really see it in the video. It doesn't look like I'm losing a ton of frames in the video, but believe me, as I was running up to the ship deck area and actually fighting the first few enemies that came at me here, there was an absolute ton of frame drop. Like, it really felt very, very stuttery and very, very slow, whereas on the PS5 it did not feel that way at all. And I should probably note for the record, I don't have the issue of disappearing bodies even on the PS4 with that solid state drive that I run. That had alleviated that issue a long time ago. So that's not something that you're going to see blatantly in either one of these videos. Yes, from time to time I do lose the occasional body when my thrall kills it and I turn around, it's totally not there. But for the most part, I don't see the invisible bodies happening very much, even on the PS4. Now, as PS5 was being talked about being launched, it wasn't even clear whether Conan Exiles was going to be able to be played on PS5. I'm happy to say that it does play on PS5. Probably should have started the video with that information, but the PS5 does really, really good with the Conan Exiles PS4 version. And from what I understand, it does also play on the next gen or the new gen, current gen Xbox as well. I believe Jade PG did a video covering the Conan Exiles backwards compatibility on that. Now, I think we've seen enough of the Black Galleon. Let's jump over to New Asgard here. And I've got to apologize. I think somebody had been in New Asgard before I got there. So the way that I handle them on either one of the systems is a little bit different because I feel like I was kind of following a path on PS5 of the enemies actually spawning in. So it'll be a little bit different. It varies a little bit. I do run into a Garda on PS5 as well, so that takes me a little bit longer to dispatch than it does the Emir Priest on the PS4. So the video kind of strays from each other for a minute here, but you can still get the concept or a general idea of the gameplay on both PS4 and PS5. Now, on the PS4 in New Asgard, I didn't feel like I had the same lag or frame drop or stutter issues that I did when I was in the Black Galleon. It really felt quite smooth. There's a couple of spots where you may see my character totally skip, and you will not see that on the PS5, but you may see that on PS4 where my character just kind of moves forward a couple of steps without actually moving forward, you know, like one place and then I'm another place. That happened at least one time, maybe twice on the PS4, so keep an eye out for that. I should also probably note that I may be hindering the PS5 by playing the game from my solid state drive instead of playing it from the internal M2 stick drive. So it may actually function better if I loaded it directly onto the PS5, but I don't see any reason or need to do that because it's been super stable, it looks great, and I don't see any issues with the game on PS5. I also should probably notate that I am using the disc version of the game in both of these scenarios. So I personally feel like the disc version of any game plays better than the downloaded version of any game on the PlayStation products, and that's just my personal opinion or my personal experience. But yeah, I'm a physical disc kind of guy all the way, although I do feel like the M2 stick would probably wreck shop with anything that's downloadable content or a downloadable game on the PS5. So I haven't tested that. I need to pick a game and kind of see. I may end up doing that with Conan Exiles because I do own it digitally as well from when it was free on PlayStation Plus. So maybe I spend a little time installing and uninstalling and downloading and reinstalling to see if there's a real big difference between the disc version and the downloadable content version. We'll see if I get around to that in the future. So let's break this down, get down to brass tacks, and I will end the video. Basically, if you've had a PS5 on your Christmas wish list and you wanted to play Conan Exiles on your PS5, you're definitely going to see an improvement from the PS4 to the PS5. Even with the best possible setup I could give the PS4, the solid state drive, the disc version of the game, everything like that, it still runs better on PS5 than it did on PS4. And I think this video and my experience is proof of that. You can let me know if you think I'm wrong in the comment section below, or you can let me know what you want me to test next. That might be kind of fun to compare different interesting things from PS4 to PS5. I'm also planning on putting together a video here in the next week or so where I talk about the vast differences between the PC version of the game and the PS4 or console versions. I feel like there's multiple versions of the game on console between what's going on in Xbox and what's going on in PS4. They play a lot differently right now, if Xbox plays at all. But I really want to showcase the huge differences that are coming to console eventually, sometime in the beginning of 2021. Gosh, that's only like 2 days away, guys, so Happy New Year. But I really want to highlight that for all of you that are on console that may not have been following the updates as they've been coming to PC. I don't want you to get caught off guard when all of this stuff slams you all at once. On PC, we've gotten it bit by bit. On PS4 and Xbox, you guys are just going to get it all dumped in your lap on day one. So keep an eye out for that in the next week or so. That'll be a pretty big video because there's been a lot of changes. We have update 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, and the unannounced yet 2.3 that eventually will drop to console all in one patch. So some big interesting changes coming to the way that you do things in Conan Exiles, and there's some tips actually that I can give you early on that will help you once you get all of those patches. So I will try to include those in that video. But this is a long video and I've gone off on a rant about another video, so I'm going to wrap this one up. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and whack that like button. And that's all I have for this video, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. There's a couple other videos coming up on the screen. You can pick one of those to watch next. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making it. I'll catch you next time. Peace. The whack moments in this video were sponsored by my legendary supporters. Thank you very much. If you'd like to sponsor a future whack moment, you can click the button below that says join. That'll give you all the details. I'd like to thank all my subscribers for their continued support, likes, comments, and general awesomeness. If you're not subscribed, you can start your free trial today and cancel at any time. And if you're not finished watching, there's 2 videos to pick from.